Thank you. Please be seated. Dr. Stringer, will you establish your quorum, please?
Yes, I will. Linda Hamilton.
Present.
Michael Memmer. I'm here. Brandon Sellers.
Present.
Lois Robinson.
Here.
Mickey Jones. Present. And I don't see Pete here yet, but we do have one.
Thank you. At this time, we have before us the approval of our agenda.
And I recommend approval of the agenda with the revised personnel report that was handed to you and emailed to you today and this evening as presented.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the superintendent for approval of the revised agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, nay. Thank you. Next item is the approval of our minutes and payroll.
And I recommend approval of our minutes and payroll, May 16th, 2018, regular meeting as presented.
Okay, we have on the floor a recommendation for approval of the minutes and payroll for May 16. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, nay. Thank you. Item number 4 is a public address. Is Ms. Crenshaw here? Ms. Carolyn Crenshaw? Would you please come forward? She will address us. Ms. Crenshaw, you have received the guidelines and you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Good evening,
welcome.
everyone. I'm here this evening to voice my, opinion and my concern about the celebration of Dr. Seuss and, St. Patrick's celebration. Theodore Sue Geisler and May Wynn Sakat are both well known and well received. However, what is not well known about these two individuals are their dark side. For example, according to CNN News, as recent as 2015, a racist drawing by Dr. Seuss was up for auction. In that drawing were the words, "Take home a end for your woodpile." Here was the spec. Also, according to the National Education Association, 2,240 humorous characters in the fifth of Dr. Seuss children's books. 98% of them are white. Of the 2,240 characters, there are 45 characters of color, representing 2% of the total number of human characters. Of that 45 characters of color, all 45 are illustrated in a racist manner. Of that 45, 2 are African, and those 2 are illustrated as monkeys. On the other hand, let's look at St. Patrick. He is known for bringing Christianity into Northern Ireland, for converting the people there, and for, quote, getting rid of the snakes. Before I go any further, let me give you a little brief history. There was a breed of tribe named Toy from Africa, and another group of people was Duri, however, may not be pronouncing the name correctly. They are Irish. But those 2 groups of people refused to convert. As a result, St. Patrick waged a war against those 2 groups, and they was killed. Thousands of people was killed. What I'm saying to you all is that if we're going to fight racism and bigotry, we must be, as a community, and the school is part of the community, selective in the people we celebrate and the content we introduce to the students. Butler County School System, I say to you all, why not join the National Education Association by fighting against this issue? Join them in moving your focus away from Dr. Seuss and his books and moving towards more diverse books and embrace all children. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Crenshaw. Okay. Our next item is presentations.
First of all, it is very good to see all these educators here this evening, all these young people, and so many times across the country and across the state, Board of Education meetings, usually the only time they're full is when there's controversy. So it's very good to see everyone here this evening for the right reasons, as we really like to improve what we're doing. So thank you for being here. Okay, next. These are the areas, for those of you who are new to board meetings, these are main area of focuses for me as the superintendent. Areas that are good for me even each month to check where are we in each one of these areas. So these are the main facets of the school system that I'll be reporting on very quickly. If anyone has any questions, as always, you're certainly welcome to set a meeting with me. Most people have my phone number. Send me a text. I'll meet with you. I'd be happy to go in detail or set you up with someone within the school system that could give you more detail in these areas. Okay, student achievement. I'm very pleased this evening that you're going to be hearing some numbers from our special education department with Mr. Island and Ms. Bolden. And it's going to be a brief presentation, but it's very important. It's certainly an area that we always will focus on and draw attention to for the right reasons. And so I'm very pleased that we will have that report this evening. And I'm also pleased, and I don't want to steal their show, but I'm pleased with the student growth that we're seeing from that department. Also, Ms. Adair will be presenting, and there's a lot of people that deserve credit. So I want to make sure I make a note, not only with the special, actually all these different areas, like even the principals tonight will say that when they update you on their data. There's a lot of people involved of why we're improving and seeing improvement. But tonight, Ms. Adair will be the one presenting regarding the work keys data. Building principals will be reporting to you. It's going to be hard for them, I'm sure, to be brief because they are excited about what's happening as they dig into their data. But we'll try to be as brief as possible and keep things moving. And I know that's why most people are here this evening. On a summary note, and just to reiterate what Ms. Ash has been saying, and it's just something that I feel from the superintendent needs reiterated. And that is simply this: we are seeing growth. It's statistical, it's not made up of statistical, it's numbers, but we're not at the proficiency level we want. So it's exciting, we're gonna celebrate the growth we're gonna see, but we still wanna reach higher proficiency levels, and those are two different things. I just wanna reiterate that. Okay, next slide. Maintaining programs. Colonel Hester just sent me a text yesterday, and he said they have a record amount of kids at their program. If you know anything about our junior ROTC program, it's producing first-class young people that are involved in that. So I'm very happy to hear him say that he has a record amount of students that are in attendance. This evening, and I've asked Mr. Johnson to keep it very brief, but I had lunch, what's that been, about a month ago? We had lunch and we sat down and we talked about our band program. Again, statistically, this isn't just me trying to make things sound good. Our band had a record-breaking year as far as the amount of awards, amount of contests, and the awards and the ranking that they've received. It is statistically record-breaking year. Going into next school year, I sit down with him. As a result of that and what he's doing with the program, he is able to almost double his program. That says a lot. The last two bullets there, and I'm just summarizing because I'm not going to read my slides to you, but I summarize this. You can find your own statistics, and if you can't find them, I will help you. There are direct correlations between, especially music, extracurricular, but especially music and academic achievement. There are direct correlations to the point that China, for example, starts their music program pre-K, and it's a requirement each year in China that all their students pre-K all the way through are in music. And so I want to make that correlation that this is not a waste of time, this is not academic stuff. This is all about academics. So Mr. Johnson, if you could quickly talk about your enrollment growth, and then talk, and I want the board to know, and I want the community to know, and I'm glad we're filming these meetings now. I want them to know and understand what you've done to raise the funds, because there are growing pains with doubling your enrollment. So go ahead.
I need to come up there.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm glad that I have the opportunity to talk to you guys this evening. I'm the band director, Brett Johnson. I was going to talk to you guys about some things that are going on within the band program. We're very fortunate. Our enrollment with the band in the last couple of years is almost doubled. We have a lot of students that are involved within the program. And we've been very blessed. We've had support with our administration, our teachers, and our community, board, superintendent, and we've grown leaps and bounds. But with that growth sometimes has a little growing pains to it as well. For example, we've just purchased uniforms about maybe 2-3 years ago, and we don't have enough uniforms already. So we purchased them, I guess 3 years ago, 2 years, something like that. And we've already outgrown the amount of uniforms that we've purchased. We're blessed with the growth, and with that has some growing pains, as I mentioned. We're getting sousaphones and instruments and several other things borrowed from other schools, just so we can make it by throughout this upcoming season. I've literally been probably North Georgia, Biloxi, Panhandle, Florida, and just about everywhere in between, borrowing, and stealing equipment so we can just survive throughout the season. I think I've driven maybe probably about 1,000 miles in the last 3 days. And so we've got what we need, and we're being very supported, but we're always looking for help. And this last week or so, we've sent out letters to some businesses. I've met with some business leaders, and we're able to raise funds that way. And we've got percussion equipment for the band, which is a blessing for sure. But we are always needing a little help here and there. We're being supported, and that which is great. And the community is backing us, and they're loving us, and they're giving us that love and that backing, which is it's just leaps and bounds of greatness there. But sometimes you need a little more. So I really appreciate Dr. Strickler and what he's done, and I appreciate you letting me come and talk about this issue today. Thank you.
And the update to the Board of Education and to the community and people that watch us now online, the update is simply this: we are growing academically, and we're going to continue to. But I'm just telling you, from my 30 years experience, that growth with the extracurricular along with it, our potential is unbelievable. The talent of our, I get passionate about it, the talent of our young people. And I know we always talk about football, I get it. But the talent of our young people is incredible. And when you have that growth together, when you have kids growing academically, and you have them growing with maybe a passion that they have, whether it's music or athletics or whatever it is, our science club, our math club, or whatever, when you have that together, I'm just telling you from experience, that growth is sustainable and it will continue. So thank you for being here for that.
Dr. Strickler,
Yes.
before you go on, just for the record, Mr. Johnson, can we just say that you didn't mean literally beg, borrow, steal, and
Don't ask. Don't ask.
Thank you.
Don't answer.
Leave the fifth there.
School climate, we are meeting with the different groups. Sorry, I shouldn't say we. On that one, I've been really focused on meeting with the different groups to show appreciation, and I start those meetings with an apology that I've been here 2 years, and it's taken time to really, appreciate all our staff, the food service in this case, and transportation. We had a really nice meal with the group, and so, I'm going to continue to do that because people need to know we sincerely appreciate them. It just was a whirlwind that first year. And I'm going to continue to have individual meetings, so even some people maybe in this room, I'm going to have individual meetings with you, and what I'm seeking, and I hope people read the sincerity. What I'm seeking is not only how we can improve as a school system, but me personally, as a superintendent. That's certainly important because there's so much going on. I need to slow down sometimes and really listen to see, how I can improve my leadership. Okay, next slide. Evaluation process, it seems every month we have to focus on something different. This month with evaluation process, we're simply focused on documentation. Even this past month, we're running into situations, whether it be employees or with students or just an issue in general, where there's just not documentation. So someone may say, hey, there's a history here, or this has been a problem before, whether it be with a student or a situation or whatever, and there's not documentation. So, but the second bullet is what I want the board to understand and what I want the community to hear and the employees that are here. And time will tell, actions will tell. Our evaluation system, we're really cracking down on that to make sure everyone's evaluated every year and to make sure we're documenting things is for improvement. It is aimed towards improvement. It is not a got-you system, at least under my leadership. It will be aimed towards improvement. Next slide. Facilities and technology. This has been a focus for the past month. It started off with, and I will be calling upon Board of Education members in the audience, community members, if you would like to be a part of a team that will be going into each building, each facility, to evaluate the cleanliness of the facility and the operational, the functionality of the facility. If you would like to be a part of that, let me know. But as a result of that, what we found when I met with all the custodians, I got the custodians together with the maintenance staff, we found, and we're going to face some more brutal facts. I know it's been 2 years of doing that. But the brutal fact is this, that we don't have standardization of how one school is doing it to the next. And when I say it, I mean the cleaning procedures. You know, and so we went around the room. How do you clean a room? How are you cleaning the restroom? How often are you doing it? What is your summer procedure? And what we found is we are all over the place as far as our procedures, our practices, our standardization of what we purchase, the products we use. We are literally all over the place. And so we are going to meet once a week. The meetings are 1 hour. We get them donuts, get the group donuts and juice and coffee, and we keep it to 1 hour meeting because I realize those people need to be out working, not sitting around the table. I get it. But these meetings are going to be very profitable for the school system in that we're going to standardize what we're doing. And so we may be delaying, I'll let the Board of Education know, we may be delaying the groups that walk through because right now we need to really standardize what we're doing. And right now we're focused on summer cleaning. I'll pass this around for the board, and if a community member would like to see. This is the book. I had books from my past experience, but this from far. Google's an amazing tool. It's unbelievable. And so through Google, we basically found the best book I've ever seen that even tells attitudes, relationships, and how to hold a flag and procedures for every single thing you can imagine. So these are procedures and standards. And so if the community is interested in that and you want to be a part of that team, let me get you one of these books and I'll pass this around to the Board of Education to just take a quick look. That is our vision. We're not there yet, but that is our vision. Okay, next slide. Safety, security, again, we're still in the process of updating our safety and security plans. And so there will be a point we will need to meet as a group. And again, community members in this room or staff, if you want involved, please let me know. Certainly, if you're very interested in that area, we want to involve you. Next slide. Communications and PR. Had an opportunity to meet with 2 of our mayors in our county. Very good meetings. And the third, Mayor Odom, we had to reschedule that. But I did end up going to a city council meeting in McKenzie and Georgiana and Greenville. So I'm going to work very hard. So if there's groups that I'm missing that aren't listed up there, I'm not going to read them all. But I want the community to know I'm going to work very hard to get out as much as I can to the different groups and different community leaders. Because that, again, and there'll be a point we don't need to beat a dead horse, but if inadvertently there was damage caused by that warrant because it was tough as a school family and as a school community family, I'm going to work very hard to make sure we're all united as we move forward. So the months are very busy. Those items aren't just listed there because I'm not attending those things. I am trying to get out. Speaking of which, church visits. If you, and it's not to speak, but if you attend a church, I'd be happy just to visit and not say a word, just to visit, because I realize we're a church-based community, and it would be nice to visit your church and just get to know people that passion as well. Okay, next slide. And fiscal responsibility, I'll just, Brandy will be giving an update there. And so, but I'm very pleased that it looks like we will actually add to fund balance this year, but I'll let Brandy give that update. So, any questions?
Stole her thunder.
What's that?
You stole her thunder.
No, yeah, so she'll add a lot more depth than that, so, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so, Ms. Mosley.
Okay. This is the financial update for April 2019. The accounts payable expenditures are $381,583.47. Gross payrolls, $1,910,835.53. The ending general fund balance was $3,020,030.18, which is 1.56 months of operating balance. And the net operations year to date at the end of April was $13,108,267.46, which is right on target because April, we're 7 months through, so we should be about 58% through the budget, I believe, and we're around 56% through. So, the next slide is our budget amendment. On pass-through, the Alabama State Department of Education changed their guidelines on how we retain pass-through funding if we so choose to do. It used to be that it used to run a year in arrears, so we based it on how CNP ended with the fund balance before. Now they have us looking at how we think they're gonna end this year. So we base it on this year's finances, and it's basically an educated guess. So, but the good thing about it is it gives us flexibility. We don't have to budget it all, and we can budget a reduced amount, and then when we get to the year end and we see that CNP needs more money, we can go ahead and pass it through at that time. We don't get penalized, for budgeting less of it. So I did decrease the CNP pass-through by $150,000 just to give us that flexibility, but I really feel like we'll have to pass that on through at the end of the year, because we've had conversations about how there's some schools that have a big deficit and have other schools carrying those. So I don't think that we need to retain any of it, but I did decrease it, like I said, to give us that flexibility. I increased the budgeted sales tax by $70,000 because at the end of April, or even at the end of May, where our collections were still up by 7%. So I budgeted a 3.5% increase on sales tax. And then, last Thursday, June 6th, the governor signed the EFT Advancement in Technology Fund. So that was $783,629 that Butler County will be receiving. And, we have until September of 2020 to spend it, but we can spend some of it in this year. So I took and I moved some fuel and some building insurance that we had budgeted in local funding to this fund to eliminate our deficit. So we now have a budget surplus of $132,870. So for fiscal year 19, the budgeted ending general fund balance is $2,084,689, which is 1.07 months of operating balance. And I really think that we'll probably even end better than that. So, because that's just on paper.
Good news, Brandon.
Any questions?
Brandon is good.
All right, that's exciting news now, everybody, there's pressure on you to talk back. Okay, thank you, and so now we'll have Mr. Iman and Ms. Bolden.
So as Ms. Bolden's coming forward, just let me refer you to a folder you have on your desk so you can see the data that we will be talking about. Ms. Bolden's shaking her head, I'm probably back behind me, but mine's gonna be brief because the last time I spoke on this issue, it was not as pleasant. Tonight it is pleasant, and the reason that I have Ms. Bolden up here with me tonight is twofold. Number one, she has some people that she needs to say kudos to, and number two, the amazing job that she has done in her first year in this county. It's been amazing. So, I take absolute zero credit for any of these good things. I take credit only in the fact that I allowed, someone higher than me up there, our Savior, to guide me. And I am proud for that. So, the last time we talked about our student profile or special education profile performance, it was sort of sad. And I'm gonna ask you to focus your attention on your 2016 report. Your fiscal year 2016. That is data for the 16-17 school year. Focus specifically, if you will, on indicator 3C, which is the performance in state assessment for reading and for math. If you remember, we were in single-digit proficiency rates. And we were talking about that time of basically about 180 students who have been identified as students with disabilities. And of that group, when we broke it down to actually look at numbers, we were talking about less than 10 students across our district proficient in that subgroup of special education in grades 3 through 8 and 11. For me, that was shameful and it was distressing. I watched it from another venue for several years, and we vowed then that we'd make a difference. And that difference has been made. If you'll focus your attention on the second handout, which is school year 2017, but fiscal year 2017. It's 17-18 school year data. So looking at the same assessments, you see that now, while we have one single digit area, it rose 4.42 percentage points. Mathematics raised 1.95, almost 2% increase. The great thing about this, Ms. Ash, Ms. Adair, and others who are data astute, is that it goes right along with what our general education student subgroup is doing, which means, ladies and gentlemen, board, that extra attention is being given. We're not leaving any child behind, regardless of their ability or disability. None of our children are being left behind. All are achieving at basically the same rate. And that's a hooray for those of you who don't realize how hard it is to move students with disabilities. That is difficult. So my thank yous not only to Ms. Bolden, but to Ms. Adair for helping us with the resources, Ms. Donna with helping us and develop a vision and understanding that we can, and including our teachers who teach our students with disabilities in every workshop, in every PD we have. Our special ed teachers are there. Y'all, you know that's something near and dear, what? Near and dear to my heart. You know the field is, and it will forever be near and dear to my heart. But it's in very, very capable hands, and for that I'm so excited. The other reason I want, and I refer to her fondly as a little bit, and respectfully, because she's the only person in the office shorter than me. So, and I ask her because she's formed, I'm gonna say it, a family. And that's critical. That's critical.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to say that I'm very thankful and humbly, just very honored to be a part of Butler County School System that serves our students, not just the students with disability, but all students in our district. And I didn't do it alone. I have a wonderful group of individuals that I work with. Coming into a new position, you have to do some pruning and making some changing and rebuilding, and everyone accepted me with open arms and have been working extremely hard. When I found out I would be here today, this evening and speaking, I asked, and some of them wasn't able to show up this evening, but the few I see, everyone in the special education department, would you mind standing up, please? I stopped to say something to Mr. Iowa as he was presenting. I said, you're saying what I wanted to tell them. Every time I call, every workshop, every thing, we sit down and we talk and we create it, and some of the improvements align up with what Ms. Ash wanted in our district. And once I heard that, the mission and the goals that we wanted to create, so within our department, we put some things into place, and some of those things are creating, like our students will, that's on extended standards, our lower function students, we created rubrics. So it'll be consistency across the district. And another thing that I really focus on, changing our language. How when we communicate with parents, board members, and community, we we want, everyone to understand that we want our children, it's an inclusive district, not just each individual school, but every school in this district, all our children are accepted and, receive excellent education, and not just, anything less than our non-disabled peers. We make sure that they receive the same and, free appropriate education. And one of the things those, individuals in my department, they work really hard, they have great relationships with the general education teacher, and I have, worked with great administrators in this district. Every time I show up to a school and ask for something, and some even take initiative and do it before I even get there, and, I just really appreciate everybody working towards the same goal and making my job easier, so. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You're amazing. Thank you.
Before they sit down too, I do wanna give kudos. Part of, one of the federal guidelines is that there's a 1% cap in how many students can be tested with the alternative assessment. So one of the things I asked special educators to do is to go back and train their staff on the requirements of that 1%, and they just took that and ran. And Ms. Bolden and her folks went over each and every case of the students that were on the alternative assessment, and they even found some places where we could help students gently take on more rigor and get off that alternative assessment and take those general assessments. So we were over our 1%, but this year we had only 14 children that assessed on the alternative assessment. All other special education students tested with the general education assessment. So that's really huge, and I really do appreciate all of your hard work. I'm gonna be brief. I'm just giving a quick update. I'm sorry I don't have a slide. If you could just pass these down, that'd be great. But I'll read what's on my paper and what I've given the board. I'm here tonight to present on the work keys. I promise principals, I'm not gonna steal your thunder, high school principals. However, I was scared with all the data that you would be presenting, that this tremendous data might get lost in all the numbers. So I did want to take an opportunity. One thing that Ms. McLean has really kind of spearheaded was bringing in workforce development to partner with our schools. And the one thing that workforce development brought to us is that they are not getting employees who can do basic math. They are not getting employees from our schools who have soft skills. So I was thrilled when I got to go in and validate the Work Keys data. Now, the Work Keys assessment is an assessment that the state requires that every one of our seniors make. So when I'm talking about this improvement in data, it is different groups of students. We're gonna look at 2016 graduates, 2017 graduates, and 17, 18, and 19 graduates. So what the Work Keys measures is, it's actually a certificate, a work certificate that is accepted nationwide as a reliable credential for employers to assess individual skills in applied mathematics, and our folks said that's a need, workplace documents, and graphic literacy. And so they're issued these certificates at 4 levels: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Now the state of Alabama says that you are college and career ready if you benchmark as a silver, gold, or platinum certificate. So in our 2017 graduates, we had 37% of our graduates benchmark countywide. 18 graduates, we had 47% system-wide graduates were college and career ready according to the Work Keys. There are other ways that can be defined as well. And then this year, countywide, we had 59% of our graduates benchmark as college and career ready with the Work Keys assessment. That is huge. That is huge. And that comes with the great work of the leadership in the schools, the principals understanding accountability, the principals understanding the importance of the assessment, Ms. McLean, who has really supported these credentialings in the schools. And I just can't say enough of how grateful I am that folks have been rallying around. Now, when we look at 59%, you know, we still have that, do the math, 41% that we want to have benchmark on this test. But we started with 37, and so we've increased by 22% over the just a 2-year period. Now, if you were here at the last board meeting, we had we were celebrating 3% growth in a year. So imagine how huge this is. So good things are happening for our graduates, and will continue to happen. I think we've got a lot of structures in place to help support kids. It's tough to grow high school students because they've some of them come with such big gaps, but we're seeing improvement even in our seniors. So I'm really proud of what we're doing.
Thank you so much. Great news. Mr. Shep?
I have a brief update tonight on the reading tree for Greenville Elementary WO that is finally just a couple of days away from getting started. It's been kind of a long process, but we are finally there. We have to be finished to take advantage of the grant that we received for materials by July 15th, but talked to our contractor that's helping us out last week, met him on site. He hopes to be finished in a week, so we're hoping to wrap this up next week if he can get started in the next couple of days like he wants.
So Jackie, maybe you can let the kids know, we'll get the tree house.
It
done
is coming.
because I can't walk anywhere, and those kids are asking, they're ready for that. Matthew, did you want to touch upon your action items that you mentioned? Might as well briefly cover.
Later tonight, there is an action item to potentially renew the contracts for our voice services. The voice over IP phone service that we've been with is Job. We've actually been with them for many years. We were with them for 3 to 5 years originally. We rebid they were actually beat during our last bid by another company. We chose to go with the other company. You guys approved that. About a month after that, that company said, no, wait a minute, we made a mistake. We can't provide what we said we could provide. So we had to backpedal and go with the Job, who was our second lowest bidder. So we've been with them for an additional 3 years. They've been solid when there are issues. They're easy to get in touch with. They're very responsive addressing those issues. Price is very fair. Company, since we signed the contract, has actually been acquired by the same company that owns GoToMeeting. So I talked to them today. They're gonna just throw in licenses for GoToMeeting at the same cost of just the voice over IP that we've been paying for the last 3 years. So that's another plus for them. On the plain old telephone service, we really only have 2 providers in this area. It's either Camellia or CenturyLink. CenturyLink didn't even bid the last time. I think that's how cheap these services have become, that, you know, for the pennies that they might have been able to make by doing lower than Camellia. It is what it is. So, and again, Camelia's been great. We had an issue just last week. I think they had a cable cut. I can always get in touch with their local guys, and they're jolly on the spot. So I believe the prices that we're currently paying are fair. We're not gonna find anything cheaper. The state now allows us to go a maximum of 5 years on contracts. These were originally 3. We can renew for 2 and readdress in a couple of years.
So Dr. Stricker, if you would, since he's already made the presentation, let's just go ahead and put that to a vote.
You want to do that?
Sure.
So that is item number 9.
Yeah, that's item number 9.
Okay, so I recommend the request for extension of the contracts as described for VoIP services and fax and alarm services with Camellia Communication as presented.
Okay, so we have Dr. Stricker's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, nay. All right, it's done. Thank you. All right, then we'll back up to item 6, which is a report of fundraising drives and No, I'm sorry. Back up to Ms. Ash.
Next month.
Stand back up here. Okay, Ms. Ash.
Just kidding.
Well,
very long. I'm just gonna stand for a moment, and I'm gonna pass you this. The first thing, just for principles, just so you know, so that you will see the guidelines that were sent. So if you were like, why didn't they do more? Because this is what they asked them to, we asked to do for this presentation, so that we can make it brief. All of the PowerPoints are back to back, and so you do have a copy. The data is really small this time because it would just take a lot to print that, but if you wanted, Ms. Tina Powell has a copy of it, so that of course you can look at it and peruse it, but I thought just having that so you can make notes or ask questions. For everyone else in the audience, you will see that I have a timer here. I will be sitting in the front row with the administrators as the timer rolls around. It's 5 minutes, so it's a nice little visual representation. So if I start waving my hands, they'll know. The only thing that we will allow a little exception for is there was a comment that I heard from a preacher a long time ago, and I thought it was so funny, but I love it. He said, "It's a poor frog that doesn't praise its own pond." Have y'all ever heard that? Yeah. I thought, you know what? If we can't praise our own people, shame on us. Because we have some amazing people in this district that deserve that praise. So if you are a teacher, administrator in this district, I need you to stand up and get your applause because you deserve it. So everybody, right now, administrators, teachers, if you are in this building, working people around, I dare you to try to outwork an educator. I dare you. You can't do it. Even if you try, you'd have to stay up all day long. Toothpicks would have to keep your eyes open. That's how hard they work. So, but I don't want to tell you about it. I get to tell you about it all the time. I think leaders need to be able to brag on their own people sometime and the great things that they're doing. So I'm going to allow them the opportunity, but as always, I just have two things. You know, I always have something. Because I have parents here, our parent surveys, we had 301. That's pretty good, but we have way more parents than that. And I know you all have some ideas and thoughts about how you think things should be ran. So we really, I think we're gonna leave it open for a few more days, but please, sirs, please, ma'am, if you're here, please make your thoughts, ideas, concerns known. We want to address them, but we don't know what we don't know about, we definitely can't fix. So please go back to that. In terms of the other surveys, our employees and our students at the next board meeting will talk about some of that perception and culture survey data that we received from our own survey tools. And then the second thing, last count, this was last week, Mayan, that program that I told y'all, our students have read collectively this summer, not while school was in, excluding that, over 9,000 books. 9,000 books. GES, y'all are whooping them. I'm just telling you. So amazing things are going on, but I'm not gonna take up the time. I'm gonna get ready to sit down. We are gonna go in ABC order. Let somebody say, well, I think I can go first. It's alphabetical order. They're gonna have 5 minutes now. If they hadn't gotten to their last slide, the last slide for everyone, well, some people are gonna do something different with praising their people a bit later. But if they have a last slide that is about praising their people, then we're gonna allow those people an opportunity to come down and wave and get a picture. And I'm gonna film so that if someone's not here, that at least they can hear their name being called, because sometimes people don't know how much we value them, and we say great things when they're not around and they don't hear about it, and people deserve to hear it. So, without further ado, all of the PowerPoints are back to back. I have my timer right here, and we will get this show on the road with Mr. Curtis Moore. Georgiana, y'all give it up.
Again, I want to say thank you, Ms. Ash, the Board of Education, Dr. Stricker, Mr. Allen, and the Central Office staff for all your help you have given us this past school year. I want to start off with our first faculty meeting. I went to school and I told our staff, I presented just the data from last year. I said, y'all, we can't have this conversation no more. We will go up. And you know, this year, I want to just say kudos to my staff, Ms. Smith, you guys did an amazing job. I want to thank you. I can't thank you 1,000 times. So if you don't mind, let's give the staff of Georgiana a hand. I'm going to start my presentation by saying our motto at our school is high standards, no excuse. And you, of course, you see on the board right here our mission and vision statement. We're going to start off with our DIBA data. The one that you see on the top is our math. you see where our kindergarten started off, and we had 32 students that tested in the fall of the school year. We only had 7 kids that were proficient in that grade level. Look what happened in the middle. You notice we went from 7 to 13, and then on the end of the school year, we had 21 kids that were intensive. We only had 8 kids that was intensive at the end of the year, and we identified those kids. So we are constantly giving them resources and the intervention that they need to be successful. And some of the things that help us move that number from so high towards being intensive to strategic and core is that we started an intervention program in the morning from 8 to 8:40 every single morning. Our teachers go in and they do our small groups. We have our seniors that come in and work. We have other teachers in the building that come in, and we see that it's definitely paying off. So again, I want to thank our teachers for that, and Ms. Ash for coming over there and helping us with that. With our data needs. Our first grade, Ms. Ash told us to identify some of our highs and lows. Our first grade kind of struggled this year. We had teachers that never taught that particular grade, so with that being said, we gave them some intervention time, we gave them some professional development, and they are in the process and come with new strategies this school year to increase the data in there. But I want to go down to our reading. If you look at our kindergarten for the reading, we started out with 33 kids that tested. 13 of the kids were in intensive. Look how many we have in intensive at the end of the school year. We went from 13 to only 4 kids, but we had 16 at the beginning of the year that was proficient, or we would say core. They went from 16 to 20, I want to say 28. So our kindergarten teacher worked really hard, and unfortunately tonight she couldn't be here, but I just wanted to celebrate her because she worked extremely hard, and Ms. Thomas in that particular grade level. And same thing with our second grade. We had a teacher that she was self-contained. She worked extremely hard, and you see her dad as well. She went from 6 kids being in intensive to only 5 kids, but she worked extremely hard. That group right there, that was a low group last year, but she worked extremely hard to keep those kids. And like I told her, as long as we didn't, Ms. Ashley tell me to speed up. This is our reading and math data from our Scantron assessment. If you notice, we have two of each grade levels. Our third grade from 2017-2018 school year, we only had 21% of those kids proficient. We went from 21% to 26%. We have to celebrate small growth. We have to celebrate any growth that we have. And like I said, when I see numbers like this, it's not the numbers that we wanted, but it is growth. And we know that as long as we're moving forward, they're on the right path. Fourth grade, they went from reading, they went from 11% to 25%. Our fifth grade went from 13%, they kind of maintained, but this is where we saw our weaknesses at. And with our fifth through 8th grade, so what we're gonna do is we're getting those teachers again, those AMSTyle lessons they're gonna be this summer. We provide them training so they can be proficient and be able to come back and teach those skills better. We had a teacher in there, and she's like, right now, she called me today and said, Mr. Moore, do we have any more trainings I can go to? So she can come in on August 1 on hitting the ground running to making sure our kids are moving. On the reading side, we had, math, same thing. We went from 36% in third grade, this year we went to 44%. On fourth grade, they showed out, they went from like 8% to 46%. So let's see what we have. Fifth grade, we went from 3 to 11. So we celebrate, but then again, it goes back to the 6th through 8th grade. We try to get those teachers that professional development so they can be successful. And again, I didn't beat them up, but because at the same time, if you look at the data, and I don't have enough time to go through, but Ms. Ashley explained it last time, if you follow those students, there's a trend with that particular group of kids where they did grow. If you look at the data from this, you look at this third grade group to this fourth grade group, they grew. But again, like I said, that's a whole other conversation, but I want to celebrate those teachers because they worked extremely hard. You can go to the next one. Some of our action steps to address our lows, they go back to what I was just talking about, purposeful intervention and planning. We're gonna do a lot of progress monitoring right now. In the morning times, Ms. Smith, myself, Ms. Charlotte Odom, who couldn't be here tonight, we go around every single morning. It's over? Instruction around. I thought I was only at 158. Instruction around. We do our Elliott 2 monthly data meetings, or sometimes we call Ms. Ash out, where she come in and sit with us on our data meetings. Teacher made assessments, and we get the teacher to create assessments. Professional development, that's our AMSTyle, where they come to central office, people Ms. Ash, or whoever we have, Dr. Nikki, different people. This is our dream box. at first, okay, we'll explain it later.
Okay, then now I'll take on the high school side. First of all, about the work keys and the biggest improvement on 5 minutes?
No, you don't have to go 5, you got like 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay, on 30 seconds, thing is, our teachers are doing a great job because our students are doing a great job and the parents are doing a great job. We're now providing things and we did some call outs to the parents and have some Saturday things for some students to come up there and get some tutoring. And Miss Dr. McLean back there gave us some study material for those ones who did not pass the work keys the first time. So they could go back and they got an award. The credentialing, when it comes down to the credentialing, Mr. McLean is the bomb. I would like to say Mr. McLean has done an awesome job. We have 27 people already credentialed already. And we have even 2 ninth graders. We have 2 ninth graders already CCR ready. 2 ninth graders already. And Mr. McLean has credentialed 27 students this year. 27, and Georgiana 27 is a lot. And Greenwood 27 is not be small. Don't they have our school? And thank you, board members, and Ms. That's all you have.
Okay, I'm Vicky Cook, I'm from Greenville Elementary. Our 3 highs are, our students are definitely growing, grade level data means are working, Lexia and Scantron scores are rising. Our lows are, on Lexia, students are not mastering enough standards compared to the number of lessons they are completing. So we need to make sure that we have them stop and focus on what they're actually doing instead of just rushing through things. Another one is, students are still struggling with standards below their grade level. When we look at our Scantron data, we're still seeing that those kids are hitting those first grade standards and not mastering them. So that's something we need to look at. We may be growing, but we're not proficient yet, but we're getting there. All right, next slide. Our action steps for our 3 lows. We're going to pinpoint those standards students are below on grade level and do routine data meetings to discuss what's working. If you walked in our building this year before, you can ask Dr. Stricker because they told him, before it was time to test, they say, let me tell you what my goal is, how many points I have to be proficient. So that is something we're really going to embrace, especially with our new 3rd graders coming in, and we already have our compelling scoreboards up, so we're really going to push that. Next slide. The proficiency report, I have 2 for you. I have the Scantron. I'm showing you where they were in 2017-18 and where they are in 2018-19. If you notice, there is about 20 students different between what we had compared, because we had a large group leave the middle school. We are growing. That's our growth of it. So we know when we get them a little below grade level, we may not make proficiency, but our goal is to make sure, like Mr. Allen said, that they're growing at a great rate. All right, LexiCore. LexiCore is our reading program that we started in January. This is just January, guys. This is not August. If you look, and we know who those low children are. Those are our children that are SLD or maybe even lower. But if you look, we had kids in pre-K level in January. And at the end of school, we had 1 in each, and we know 1% each. We know who they are. None in kindergarten, but look at the 5th grade. To be in 5th grade, that means they had to master all the 4th grade standards before they could even move on to that. So that is a very hard thing to do with those. And those children know that data. They can tell you where they are. They can tell you, they'll even go to Miss Walker, one of our special ed teachers, and listen, I'm having trouble with this part right here. Can you come and work with me on it? And so that's a great way for them to do those small group instructions. Next. Moving the needle. The goal for GS next year is to increase the number of standard students are mastering on LexiCore. We feel if we increase that, then we're going to increase those Scantron scores too. More proficient. And that'll make us more proficient on state assessment. Our compelling scoreboards are up now. The teachers are not, they've taken them down. But ours in the hallway for the whole school are up. If you walk through, you can see where they're growing, how they're doing, and they're very proud of those scoreboards. Alright, we're going to invite parents to a workshop to show ways to help their students master the standards. So there is some standards across the grade levels that everyone is weak in. So those are the workshops that we're going to hold to tell parents, hey, these are things that you can do at home to help us, to help your children. Alright, the next one. I made it to the Celebrating Greatness, so I can give out my certificate. I talked a little fast. Okay, so we are growing and growing. So instead of just talking about Scantron, things like that, we're going to celebrate something different. Miss Young's class has the most read books using the My Aunt app. So Miss Young, I'm going to get your certificate. And Miss Willis, I did not steal these from Teach Faith either. I borrowed calling it this, that makes you feel better. All right, Ms. Brooks, her students had maintained 100% usage on Lexia board, so she, which is good. And then Ms. Turner, who was not here because she had a church meeting, she said, oh, yay! Yay! Ms. Turner, she had over 1,000 AR points for her class. Yeah. I just, she did the church meeting. Because that's what you did.
Y'all give her one big round of applause, please.
All right, so I have the opportunity to work alongside.
Yeah, start talking.
I know, right? So I have the opportunity to work alongside a data guru. I will tell you that this young lady here has come in, and when I tell you she does spreadsheets and numbers probably in her sleep, she does. She does a great job of helping me identify where student weaknesses are, as well as trying to find their highlights and how can we work with the teachers as well as the students to move those students. So when Ms. Ash had came in and said, hey, we're presenting to the board, I called Ms. Benson. I said, Ms. Benson, do you want to present numbers to the board? She said, absolutely. So Ms. Benson.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight to present this information and this data to you. I'm excited for our school and our teachers. Our vision is every student counts, every moment matters, and that is a profound statement for us. And my battery's really quick. Oh no. So we made every moment count as much as we possibly could, and the data is showing that we have increased, we've shown growth. For our reading growth, this is from Scantron, from 17-18 to 2018-19, we increased as an overall 14% for the school. Breaking it down, as you can see here, I have some in red and some in green in the increased and decreased areas. I highlighted the target if it was below 50%, because that's where we would like to be, and then once we get to 50%, then we'll move the target again. I highlighted the ones in red that were below 50%, and we had 2 grade levels there that are below 50% for their students meeting 50% or more meeting their target for the end of the year. 6th grade and 7th grade met their target with 58% for 6th grade and 54% for 7th grade. Overall, we had an increase for 5th grade with 13%, 6th grade 20%, 7th grade 26%, and we did have a decrease in our 8th grade reading with 3%, but an overall 14%. Also, if you will look with our categories for our far below, below, above, and far above, you can see that we're taking students from our far below and we're starting to shift them in the direction we want them to move to, which is our far above. Little by little, we're getting them there. Okay? Next slide. This is our continued growth is for math. We also have increases here. We have one group that met with 50% of their students meeting the growth expectancy with 6th grade. The other areas, as you can see, has increased from last year. All grade levels increased. 7% for 5th grade, 10% for 6th grade, 14% for 7th grade, 10% for 8th grade, and an overall 10% for our school. And again, you can see that we're moving them again from the red cells and starting to move over to the blue. Okay? Our proficiency. We have some work to do here. This is our achievement area. So we have highlighted in green our 6th grade with 33% of our students being proficient in reading and 31% in math for 6th grade being proficient. Again, we do have some areas here that we need to work on. We're diving into the standards that our students are missing and looking at that data in our grade level meetings
students, as they move and growth, our achievement will start to increase as well. Our moving the needle, we will continue providing support to our students and our staff through. We have Scholastic and Renaissance PD that we're providing to our English language arts teachers. We have Math PD that we're providing to our math teachers with Dr. Nikki. We're gonna continue to set student and teacher goals, and doing a mentor sessions that we do, in the morning time. As you can see on here, this is pictures of students actually, some of their goal setting that they do, exit slip type things after we do our mentoring sessions that teachers were excited to send a picture to me after they finished each session with them. And actually the students are asking, can we do that every Monday instead of every other? So that is a great thing to me that they really want that guidance provided to them. Grade level, department meetings, and analyzing data throughout the year. We will continue this. As Ms. Marlowe says, I like numbers, and in order to help guide your teachers, your instruction, you must look at your numbers and see where your data is so that it can help guide you. Our greatness, if these teachers can come forward, if you're here, I stuck with pulling from the data that we were pulling from for Scantron on the first part here. For our 50% or higher of their students meeting their yearly Scantron goals, Ms. Gray had 70% of her students meeting their goals. Ms. Powell had 65%. And Ms. Robinson had 54%. And we also had in math, we had Ms. Connor with 57%. This is a major accomplishment. Okay, for our top 3 most improved mean score increase from the fall scoring to the spring scoring, we have Ms. Powell. She increased hers. Yeah, ladies, just say we had an increase with Ms. Powell with 166 points. Overall students for everyone that she teaches, Ms. Gray had an increase of 140. And Ms. Cook had an increase of 130 points.
Come on down, Ms. Cook, don't be scared. Come on. You better come on. Come on. Y'all give it up.
For math, we had Ms. Connor. She had an increase of 129. Dr. Dillard had an increase of 121 points. And Ms. Martin had an increase of 118 points. We also have our top 2 AR teacher groups for our school with Ms. Gray and Ms. Powell.
All right. Y'all give it up real hard. Listen to this. Greatness. Come on, Ms. Spencer. Squeeze in. Squeeze in. Don't be scared. There you go. Beautiful. And I want to say for the record, I tapped my screen and they actually have a few more minutes. I wanted that. I accidentally tapped it. So anybody that's keeping count, say, she didn't let the alarm go off. I messed up. Okay. Y'all give it up for Greenville Middle School one more time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If I may, Dr. Strickland, I know the time is of the essence, so I don't wanna, leave out something, my PowerPoint, because that's there. You won't see the PowerPoint, there it is. But I want to kind of start out with the end in mind. First of all, I want to talk about all my teachers, all the teachers from Greenville High School, faculty staff. Please stand. I see Ms. Grayson, Ms. Pryor, Ms. Brown. And all the teachers, like, as you know, I've learned over these 24 years, people do the best they know how to do. Whether that meets your approval or not. I don't think whether you're an educator or whether we are in society, people are gonna do the best they know how to do. And it's up to our job as administrators, board members, superintendents to equip those people with the skills and the resources that they need in order to be successful. With that being said, I had 2 Level 4s this year. Like I said, I've been doing this 24 years, and I had 2 special ed students. One student was a self-contained student. As very well you know, students that are self-contained have an IQ below 60. And one of those students actually is being moved from the self-contained setting to the regular classroom. Never really classroom. This student worked to the level where it feel like the team met and decided to give the student a chance in the regular ed setting. Also, we have another student, 10th grade student that tested out of special ed service.
Yes!
And actually, you know, as doing these meetings, as we serve as LEAs, you know, we didn't have a guide, make sure that Mr. Allen knows to come over there and say, Mr. Dion, out of your mind, you've done this and done that, and we don't have a resource for it. But this meeting, I spent more time answering questions than giving advice because I've never witnessed that before. I was questioning the parent, how did it happen, what did you do? You know,
What did you do?
Yeah, what did you do? Because we only can reinforce what's being enforced at home. That's all we can do. But this parent took pride, she's a single mother with 4 kids, but she wants a quality education for her children. And she said that the special services was giving that assistance, but this child had to learn that she's going to have to do it on her own. So she pushed her to do that. I think that was great. Also, all current rising seniors within our county, I'm surprised no other principal has mentioned it, have already received scholarships to any 2-year university in the state of Alabama. All rising seniors have received scholarships if they qualify. Their first 2 years of college will be paid for by way of Gear Up, and I think that's awesome. Also, with the data that I'm going to talk about briefly, is raw data. I didn't go in and add. The State Department allows students to be counted for all students that are level 2s. 2 failures, in my opinion.
2 halves make a whole.
2 halves make a whole. So students scoring level 2s, you can take each two students and equate to 1 passing student. We didn't do that. What I did, because I want to help parents save money. And the way you help parents do that, you tell those parents, in order for your child to go to school and be college and career ready, in the area of math, that student must have a 22. In the area of math. In the area of reading, he or she must have a 22. In the area of science, they must have a 23. In the area of English, he or she must have an 18. If your child gets accepted to a college or university without having those credentials, get ready to pay for remediation. If you've been to college before, you know what that is. That means you can spend 2 or 3 years in college and still be a what? Freshman. Freshman. So it's good to tell these kids you can't go to college, but we must prepare them to go, or else parents gonna be paying for a service that's not gonna benefit them to be college to earn his or her degree. So I didn't even look at level 1s and level 2s and all those things. I looked at the number of students at Greenville High School that scored and earned college and career ready standard as juniors, because that's the only accountability grade level we have. In the area of math, it was 25 of those students, 25%. In the area of English, it was 34% that would actually earn credentials if he or she was based on just those benchmarking credentials, not the level 2s and 3s, just raw data. Also, out of our seniors that graduated, 130 of our 135 were accepted to college. But the uprising seniors have already earned what? Scholarships, a big difference. You can get accepted. You can get accepted. But if you don't have the funding, or if you don't have the what? The know-how, that's a problem. So I'm proud to say they have been accepted to college, but now it's our job to prepare them for college. All right? Then looking at the data and breaking it down, what do we need to do? Where are our deficiencies? And here they are for Greenville High School. First thing, reading comprehension is a concern. I see Ms. Pryor shaking her head. Yeah, it's a concern. Also, solving equations in the area of math is a concern. And that goes all the way back, Ms. Thorne, high level. 2nd grade, Kindergarten. Sequencing. Doing things in order, following simple directions, how to bake a cake, you know, not skipping steps, each step, putting things in order, reading them, passing them, putting them in order by how they occur. That's the area. And last but not least, applying mathematical concepts, giving you a formula and a series of problems, then you apply these formulas in order to get the problem correct. Those are areas. Also, what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna continue to make a plan, don't work the plan? No, this is what we're gonna do. First thing we're gonna do, can I finish this up? All right. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna hire ACT specialists. We're gonna use our title money to hire ACT specialists to come in, work with our students monthly, based on the students that sign up. In the past, we forced everybody to go. And then we get in there and we have distractions, we have problems. So if students want to participate, you're gonna sign up, do some buy-in. Because we want those birds that are ready to fly, we want them to take off. So we're gonna have those specialists to come in, work with our teachers, then work with these students independently. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna tell the students what their scores are. Does no good for us to know. If your scores are 15 in the area of math, your scores are 20, 25, you need to know what your score is before we start preparing you. So you can go to your teacher and say, hey, I have an 18, but I want to get a 22. What do I need to do? That teacher can pull out those individual profile sheets and form those students. Now we have a plan. Next thing we're going to do, YHBI means. YHBI means. This is for parents. You have been informed. That's what it stands for. You have been informed. Those means we're going to let parents know where their students are, what they're going to do about it, and how we're going to assist. And last but not least, thanks to Mr. Burkhead and Mr. Hamilton, who served as intern this year, we were able to already identify those rising seniors that's on the verge of being college and career ready. We're going to move 2s to 3s. We're going to move those 2s to 3s, and then we're going to move those 1s to 2s. That's our plan. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland and board. Thank y'all so much for allowing me to present on my school real quick. One of the things that I can tell you about my school is I am very blessed to have the faculty and staff that I have at my school. I tell everybody, I do a good job cutting the lights on and turning the lights off, but my people do a good job giving the quality instruction needed in the classroom each and every day. Everything that we do or our plan at McKenzie is tied to that state report card. I told our faculty and staff, when they turned that scoreboard on, the coaching side of me got competitive right then. And even though I graduated from Auburn and I'm an Auburn fan, I'm a big Nick Saban fan, so I'm not happy. I'm never, ever happy. I'm never, ever satisfied. So as we start looking at our performance series, growth and data, and the great part about being at a unit school is we're invested with that child from K4 all the way up to being a senior. We get to see that child personally grow. And last year, at the end of the school year last year, we made some changes based off of data. I asked teachers to move around. I asked them to move around because we wanted the strongest teachers from kindergarten to 3rd grade. We want our students to have a strong foundation right there. And we believed that if they had a strong foundation, down the road, we're going to see tremendous success. So as you can see, our reading and math growth and all this type of stuff up there on the board. I'm trying to remember this because I did this last week. On this growth right here, our big thing this year when it came to performance series, that when we looked at the data, I told everybody in our school, we need everybody to move up one level. Let's just make it simple. Let's get to the point, move up one level. Because if they're level 1, it counts nothing on the report card. So if we can get everybody to move up one level, we're going to get more points. And that's what we were after right there. And you can see our growth right there, like 7th and 8th grade is an area of concern that we targeted at the beginning of the year. So with that, we saw how low they were. So what we did is we hired retired teachers to come in, 3 retired teachers to come in and provide intervention for our 7th and 8th graders to increase their scores in order to prepare them for the ACT. All right, next slide, please. Devil's Growth right there, our kindergarten is 92% core. Our first grade is 100% core. Our second grade is 83% core. Those teachers do a phenomenal job with what they're doing. But just like I told y'all, just like Saban, I'm never happy. Our ACT for the class of 2020 is a problem. It is a major concern. I've got teachers in PD today on ACT. We're already addressing this concern as we're moving towards next year. Now, class of 2019, I'm gonna say this one right here, that CCR 100%, and I put automatic in bold up there. I'm starting off at 10%. I'm not starting off at 0 at our school. We are starting off. We made sure that every last one of our seniors hit one of those 5 marks right there. 100% passes on the civics test the very first time. You can see the scholarship totals, ACT work keys. You can see how all that is broken down. Next slide, please. Performance series proficiency. This is what we're getting to right here, is the number of kids that are proficient. If you will look at 3rd grade, our goal is trying to get to 50%. And I keep saying, we want to get to 50%, but I'm not happy. To me, 50% is still failing. But we're trying to move in that direction. Look at 4th grade reading proficiency. Miss Susan Chandler, 69%. Miss Joetta Wright, 57%. Miss Crenshaw in math, 50%. And then we dropped down to 6th grade right there, which is a team effort in reading. That was Miss Garrett, Miss Buckaloo, and Miss Henrietta Presley, retired, come in and help with that a little bit, 50%. And then in math, you had Miss Blackburn and Miss Jones at 62%. Now look at 7th and 8th grade, it's still low. But that's where we had our biggest growth, right there. Right there. So as it gets down to the number of kids that's tested in grades 3 through 8 that are proficient, that's where we are right there, and we want to get that higher than where we are. Next slide, please. It's all about that report card. Oh, yes, ma'am. It's all about that report. Next slide, please. Next slide. We celebrate everything. Next slide. Let me finish with this. I'm very blessed to be at the school and community that I am. I'm very blessed to have the faculty and staff that are very highly motivated and care so much about our students. It makes my job so much easier when you have the right people around me. I tell folks I'm not highly intelligent. I just got highly intelligent people around me. All right? Y'all have a great day.
He's got something planned that he won't tell me about, so I'm waiting to see what it is.
I have to put mine in front of me because I wear glasses, still can't see. Okay, for our growth data, our kindergarten, we had 95% kindergarten core, 3% strategic, and 1% intensive, and what we have identified those students. And I must say that at the beginning of the year, we came in, Ms. Ash came in, and Melanie from ARI came in, and we looked at our data, and they told us then, we have been masters of nothing and taught everything. So they said, no, stop. Go to the lowest that the student has. When they master that, you move forward to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And I'm happy to say with kindergarten, they went from letter naming to phoneme segmentation to first-time fluency, and as the benchmark up for them, they rose to the challenge, and we have that much growth. Now, in 1st and 2nd grade, we're playing catch-up for the ones from before. So we had children that was really low, and we identified what their weaknesses are and moved them up. And as what we worked on, we mastered. What we did not, what we looked at, we went to there, and at the end, we discovered, well, at the last test, it's oral reading fluency. We didn't get to that till January, and the test is in March and April. So this year, we're gonna back it up. We're gonna do what we did before because we have growth, but we're also gonna start whole group doing oral reading fluency, decodable readers, things like that, to give them that time they need for that fluency in reading. And that basically means that fluency is how fast we want them to read like they talk. But we do want accuracy, because accuracy is the number of words they got correct. If you have accuracy, fluency will come. So we'll work on that. Next slide. This is our lexical data and principals meeting. I heard Ms. Ash and Mr. Moore talking about some program, and I was upset because I got money, so why we couldn't buy. Ash said, "You want to spend your money? I spend it." So we got that program, and I must say, from January, we had, this is W.O. Palmer Style, we had 482 students in it. As you can see on the first slide, where they were, that gray is how far the 2 grades behind, that light gray is 1 grade behind, that light blue is, the blue is on grade level, and the dark blue is above grade level. And from January to now, we have moved that needle. We have moved that. And out of the children that were in Lexicor who did 100% every day, they got all their minutes in. If you look at the slide over there, that's where they were from before. And you just see that needle, they've advanced above. So we are pushing that needle. Next slide. And we looked at our STAR as our proficiency report. As you can see, where our children range in STAR with our kindergarten, we have early emergent readers, late emergent readers, and transitional readers, and probable readers. And as a breakdown, we want all our children at the end of the year to be probable readers, and that's our goal, to make them probable. But we've come, like I said, we've grown and we've come away a distance, and with first and second grade, we are playing catch up because we have a number of students who are 2 and 3 grades behind, and we're moving them. We're pushing them forward, and they are getting there. Next. I'm moving the needle. We're gonna incorporate the ORF in whole group and small group. We're gonna begin the first day of school, hit the ground running with Lexicor and Dreambox to ensure that every student gets the recommended amount of time. Our data, we're gonna continue to have data instruction, data-driven instruction. We're gonna have bi-weekly data meetings by grade level, scoreboards. We're gonna post our data in the hall. We're not gonna be ashamed of the data. We're gonna post it. We can only get better. Somebody may come along and see the data and say, "Hey, I have a way to help you do this." So we're gonna post that. And more importantly, even kindergarten, we're gonna give the students data notebooks. Let them get a voice in their learning, let them know their data, and help them become more accountable for their data. Because if you know their data, you know what it takes to move their data, you can help along the way. And I volunteered myself for math, because that is a deficiency for us. Ms. Cook, I'm always volunteering her, she volunteered me. Well, next year, I volunteered us to host AMSTI from the state to come here for AMSTI training. So we won't have to send teachers out, they're coming to us. So that's what we're doing for next year, okay? And we work hard, we play hard. As you can see, our clubs, we have an art, music, technology, drama club. We did a show at the Ritz. We did the Veterans Day program. So we follow what Dr. Stricker said. He believes that extracurricular is as important as academics, and we follow that lead. Okay. And to do our growth, as I said, we've had teachers who had great growth. And so I want to recognize those teachers who have had great growth. My first teacher I want to recognize is Ms. Brumbelow, Ms. Christina Brumbelow. She had great growth and style. And as we walk in the school, it comes with a certificate for a week of duty-free lunch. Oh. Also, with Ms. Erica Presley, Mrs. Erica Presley, she had both. grades from kindergarten. And this is her lexicon, she had the most growth in lexicon in kindergarten. And Miss Tamara Ballard, she's at Disney World, she said she's not coming back.
We'll send her this video.
She had the most growth for first grade, is Miss Scott here? Miss Brenda Scott? Yeah. Her second grade class had the most growth. And what I'm saying about growth is when we looked at that data for growth, it's easy to move children who are going to move. We have an advanced class, and those children are going to move. But the children who are so far behind, those are the ones that are difficult to move, and these people are moving them.
Yes. Come on. Come on.
That was the end of our presentation. Please give everybody a round of applause. They did an amazing job.
Ms. Ash, on behalf of the principals, you know, I also have one of those Apple products with a stopwatch on it. And if you're gonna put them on a 5-minute timer around here, you know, we got you, 5, 10, 40 minutes.
If I'm told in advance, I will make it happen.
You can't stay below 5 minutes. I can't stay below 5 minutes, I know you can. Thank you.
Thank you all so very much. Thank you for all your hard work. And we'll move on to item 6. Now we'll move to item 6, which is our report of fundraising drives and our request for use of school buses as an information item. And then item 7 is our financial report.
Okay, I recommend approval of the financial report, the financial statements, April 2019, bank statements, April 2019, and approval of the budget amendment number 2 as presented this evening.
Okay, you heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Item 8 is approval of the child nutrition program meal price increase.
Okay, and that is recommended to us, the guidelines are amended here this evening, but anyway, I do recommend the approval of the child nutrition meal price increase, as presented.
Okay, we have the recommendation. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Is that a second? Okay. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. All right, we've already, taken care of requesting, for the extension of contract, item 9, so we'll move to item 10, which is our personnel report.
Okay, I recommend the revised, personnel report as presented.
Okay, we have recommendation. Is there a motion for, approval of the personnel report?
Motion?
Second.
Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay.
And principals, building principals, do you have staff that are here this evening?
Okay. Ms. Grace, Ms. Caldwell, tell them I understand, wave your hand. Ms. Grace will be joining us 8th grade English, Ms. Caldwell will be joining us on the elementary side. Anybody else? I think that's it for me, but thank you.
Okay,
Any other principals, Curtis?
The one, we got, in recommendations, Mitchell, she had to have, emergency surgery today. So, she wanted to just tell everybody thank you.
Any other teacher? And special education services teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Is that it? Thank you, welcome, and at this time, we will, well, Mr. Hamilton's not here for our legal update.
All right, so we will move on.
So we will move on. Item 12 is executive session.
Okay, I recommend we enter executive session for the expulsion hearings of student 2019-2020
Second.